All right, welcome everybody. So if some of you or all of you are kind of fed up of my incessant Davos daily posts, then quite frankly, I don't blame you because it is quite a lot of posts. I mean, I've been posting every single day for the last 10 days and Davos is well over. But think of it this way, right? Call this the Davos detox episode. We're turning all that Swiss air and handshakes into actual intelligence that you can use. So welcome back to the GulfWire. This is your go-to briefing on what actually matters across the entire Gulf. So I'm Mubadala Malik, and January 2026 wasn't just busy, it was transformational in more ways than one. So we're talking about markets opening, billions deployed, and mega projects hitting major milestones. So let's get straight into it. First of all, Saudi Arabia, the golden opportunity, the Davos moment, and the quality of life index. But before we dive into the actual numbers, and I had the incredible opportunity to meet some of the amazing leaders at the heart of power in Saudi Arabia and at the heart of the transformation that's driving Vision 2030. And I met a whole range of people, but some of the highlights were His Excellency Mohammed Al-Jaddan, the Minister of Finance, His Excellency Mr. Khalid Al-Faleh, the Minister of Investment, His Excellency Mr. Al-Khateeb, who's the Minister of Tourism. But the highlight for me, I must say, was meeting Her Royal Highness Princess Reema bint Bandar Al Saud, who's the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's ambassador to the United States. And she, along with Minister Ahmed Al-Khateeb, officially launched the Global Quality of Life Index. You should see my separate post on the GulfWire on that. This is a data-driven framework already being adopted by over 120 cities worldwide to measure success beyond GDP. And meeting Princess Reema for me was a true honor. I mean, she's incredibly kind, humble, and one of the most charismatic leaders I've met. And I was hoping to reconnect again in Washington, D.C. later this year when I visit. So this matters because Saudi Arabia isn't just building infrastructure, it's exporting a new blueprint for how cities actually measure progress. Now let's talk about the move that changes everything for global investors. So on February the 1st, just earlier this month, Saudi Arabia abolished its qualified foreign investor regime. So for a decade, if you wanted to invest in the Saudi stock market, you needed at least $500 million in assets under management, AUM, just to get through the door. That's over, done with. The velvet rope is gone. So as of last week, any foreign investor, individual or institutional, can invest directly in TASI, which is the Tadawul Index, I hope I pronounced that correctly, with nothing more than a passport and a KYC check through a licensed Saudi broker. I better get myself sorted. The numbers tell the story, so let's think about it. Foreign ownership in the Saudi capital market hit 590 billion riyals, that's $157 billion by Q3 last year. With this move, the SEMA Capital Market Authority is positioning Saudi as a true international marketplace. So if you've been watching Saudi from the sidelines, the entry barriers just collapse. Open an account with S&P Capital, a Diriyah, or any licensed broker, and you're in. It's as simple as that. And it's not just equities. Real estate is opening up too. As you probably heard in my previous episode, new laws now allow non-Saudis like myself to own property in designated zones. If you're investing from abroad, look at fractional ownership platforms like Stake, which are now officially recognized by the REGA blockchain registry. And what are the hotspots? I would say North Riyadh, specifically Hitin and Al Malka. These are where the smart money is moving at the moment, according to some intelligence. So we're planning deep dive episodes on both the capital markets and the real estate. So if you want to collaborate and join in on those episodes as an expert, DM me and let's make it happen. Now let's talk Riyadh infrastructure, because Saudi Arabia isn't just opening markets, it's actually building them. As you know, the 2034 FIFA World Cup is only 8 years out, but January saw major progress in this regard. Saudi is building 15 stadiums across 5 cities: Riyadh, Jeddah, Al-Khobar, Abha, and also Neom. That's 11 new builds and 4 major refurbishments, a combined investment exceeding $20 billion US. And the centerpiece, the King Salman International Stadium in Riyadh. That's 92,000 seats. Opening in 2029, this will host both the opening match and the final. And yes, there's been chatter about stadium designs being reassessed for cost control. The Public Investment Fund, PIF, announced a 20% spending cut in 2025, but work is still advancing. The Aramco Stadium in Al-Khobar, designed by Populous, is set to complete in 2026. But one stadium worth watching, my friends, is the Prince Mohammed bin Salman Stadium in Qiddiya. It's cliffside, it's got a retractable pitch, and it's anchoring a sports hub that's already making headlines. And let's talk about 2030. And if you think about timelines, the Expo 2030, Riyadh just awarded its main utilities and civil works contract ahead of schedule. That's fantastic. This is a 6 million square meter site that will host 197 nations and expects 42 million visits. The CEO of Expo 2030, a Riyadh company, Talal Al-Marri, said that construction is being accelerated with a phased approach running through 2026 into early 2027. The master plan design is by Lava Architects with 5 themed zones, over 200 pavilions, and it's all designed for post-Expo reuse. This isn't a teardown project. And now if you move on to Diriyah, the birthplace of Saudi Arabia, and now a $63 billion giga project targeting 27 million visitors by 2030. In January alone, Riyadh awarded a $2.75 billion contract for the Red Line metro extension to Diriyah Gate. That's 8.4 kilometers connecting King Saud University, KSU, to Diriyah, with 5 new stations, 3 of them underground. Now this matters because Diriyah is more than just museums and heritage. It's a walkable city with 100,000 plus residents planned, luxury hotels from Aman Resorts and Marriott, a 20,000 seat arena, and Saudi Arabia's first opera house, the Royal Diriyah Opera House, under a $1.4 billion contract. And since 2024, Diriyah Company has awarded $27 billion in construction contracts. The first hotel, Bab Samhan, opened in January. Diriyah Square has 400 retail units in traditional Najdi architecture and is under a $600 million contract. Completion has shifted from 2027 to 2030, but it's one of the most advanced giga projects in the kingdom. You really have to see it to believe it. And then there's Qiddiya. Come on December 31st, if you remember the first episode of the GulfWire, we announced that the Six Flags Qiddiya City officially opened, Saudi Arabia's first Six Flags park and the first Six Flags theme park built entirely outside North America. This is a $1 billion, 320,000 square meter park with 28 attractions across 6 themed lands. The headline, Falcon's Flight. It's the world's tallest, longest and fastest roller coaster. Let me put this into perspective. If you're afraid of heights, this is not your ride. So if you enjoy gravity, Falcon's Flight will probably make you reconsider that relationship. So Six Flags is just the first of 70 major assets planned for Qiddiya City. Next up is Aqua Arabia, a water park with women-only days, which is great, and a Dragon Ball theme park as well. By 2030, Qiddiya is projected to contribute 44 billion riyals. That's $10.6 billion to Saudi GDP and create 85,000 jobs. So if you're in entertainment infrastructure, sports facilities or hospitality, Qiddiya is where the action is. I'm not surprised that strategically Riyadh is now moving, I would say, funds and shifting priorities as a result. Now let's move to Abu Dhabi, where they've just added another sovereign wealth fund to their collection. In January, the Supreme Council for Financial and Economic Affairs announced a major restructuring, the consolidation of ADQ's $263 billion portfolio under a new sovereign wealth fund called Limad Holding. Now here's the framework. Abu Dhabi now has 4 sovereign pillars. I'm going to try and break it down for you, and I'm no expert. The Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, known as the ADIA, which is $1.1 trillion, which is technically the savings account, long-term global investment. Then there's Mubadala, $330 billion. It's the venture capital arm, future-focused sectors like AI, healthcare, and renewables. Limad, now consolidating ADQ, is the industrial CEO, infrastructure, real estate, financial services, advanced manufacturing, etc. And ADNOC, the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, is energy and petrochemicals, as you probably know. Now, Limad is chaired by His Royal Highness Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. The board includes Khaldun al-Mubarak, the CEO of Mubadala, and Muhammad Al-Ali Sharifah, chairman of Etihad, both of whom I had the pleasure of meeting very briefly in Davos last week. These are the architects of Abu Dhabi's economic transformation, and conversations were as sharp as you'd expect. This isn't just organizational housekeeping. This is Abu Dhabi signaling it's consolidating the real economy under one entity, while the ADIA and Mubadala continue their global deal-making. And Abu Dhabi is deploying capital at scale. Mubadala, in partnership with MGX and BlackRock's global infrastructure partners, closed a $40 billion deal to acquire aligned data centers. The Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, ADIA, is also active, leading a China-focused continuation vehicle with CDH investments and taking anchor positions in consortium take-private, including the $18.3 billion Hologic deal alongside TPG and GIC. Now, Gulf Wealth Funds accounted for 43% of all capital invested by state-owned investors globally in 2025. Abu Dhabi is leading that charge. On the real estate front, Mubadala and Al Dar announced a 60 billion dirham plus, that's over $16 billion expansion of Abu Dhabi's financial district on Maryah Island. There's a 2.5 kilometers of air-conditioned pedestrian corridor, over 12,000 parking spaces, and the new bridge connecting Al Maryah Island to Reema Island and the Abu Dhabi mainland. This is amazing. Enabling works start in 2026. This is the kind of infrastructure that signals Abu Dhabi is building for global financial services at scale. I mean, why not, after the huge success of the Abu Dhabi Finance Week end of last year? It was absolutely phenomenal. So now over to Doha in Qatar, where Qatar is making its AI and technology bet crystal clear. I had a great time at the Invest Qatar Pavilion in Davos and met some amazing people. The Qatar Investment Authority, QIA, and Goldman Sachs signed an MOU in January for QIA to commit $25 billion to Goldman Sachs asset management funds and co-investment opportunities. The QIA CEO, Mohammed Al-Suwaidi, said it provides a premium deal flow in sectors critical to our investment strategy, including AI, fintech, digital infrastructure, and private credit. Goldman Sachs is expanding its Doha office to become its largest regional asset management hub. When Goldman opens the biggest regional office in your city, you know you're doing something right. Also at Davos, I met with Abdulrahman Al-Suwaidi, the CEO of Qatar Development Bank, QDB. If you look at the LinkedIn post and keep an eye on their new growth funds, and in a massive move, the Government Communication Office signed an MOU with Publicis Group to supercharge Qatar's digital brand ahead of the GEC 2026. In December, Qatar launched QAI, or Kai, the national AI company backed by QIA, and Kai isn't playing small. In partnership with Brookfield, Kai announced a $20 billion joint venture focused on AI infrastructure in Qatar and select international markets. QIA also participated in XAI's $20 billion Series E funding round, one of the largest sovereign wealth funds investments in a private AI company to date. But here's the strategy shift. QIA is taking a selective approach to AI investments. Al-Suwaidi told Bloomberg that they're focused on revenue generation, implementation capability, and productivity gains after 5 to 6 years. This basically means Qatar is betting big, but being smart at it. Also, the Web Summit at Qatar, which just wrapped up, QIA announced it's tripling its funds program from $1 billion to $3 billion. The sweetener, access to subsidized AI computing power from Kai for portfolio companies, and the QIA has deployed to 12 venture funds so far, with commitments ranging from 50 million to over 150 million per fund. With immigration restrictions tightening in the US and Europe, Qatar is positioning itself as a place for founders and engineers to build. It's as simple as that. And January was also a significant month for leadership transitions. If you look across the Gulf, some news highlighted that the PwC Middle East, Laura Hinton is the new Middle East senior partner, succeeding the formidable Hani Ashkar, and PwC UAE. There's also an announcement that Khalid Ahmed bin Break, who I hope to meet very soon, was named country senior partner for the UAE. I'll be heading to a PwC Academy event in Riyadh this week, so more on that. News in banking and real estate, Mohammed Hassan Al-Suwaidi moved to executive chairman of Lunate, and Tariq Nazal was named CEO of Rural Development Holding. These aren't just personal changes, they're indicators of where capital and expertise are actually flowing. So now you've got this recruitment intelligence segment. We're going to be partnering up with other firms to give you the recruitment intelligence. If you're looking to move to the Gulf, January saw a huge hiring surge. Q1 is normally busy as headcounts and budgets are released. The talent war is real. In Riyadh, Aramco is actively recruiting for sustainability engineers and project leads. Diriyah company is hiring a director of talent acquisition, with expected packages ranging from 55,000 to 75,000 riyals monthly. In Abu Dhabi, the G42 and Edge Group are in a talent war for AI research scientists. Expected compensation around 40 to 60,000 dirhams per month. And Doha, the World Bank's new Doha office and QNB are hiring fintech analysts. So one skill set is commanding premium salaries across all 3 cities. That's hybrid legal expertise. English law combined with Saudi Riga blockchain registry knowledge. If you have that, congratulations, you're basically printing money. So that's January in the Golden Triangle. Capital markets opening, sovereign wealth funds deploying billions, mega projects accelerating, AI infrastructure scaling. So if you're an investor, a founder, a professional, or someone just tracking where the world is moving, this is the briefing you needed. So which story hit hardest for you? Let me know. Was it the TASI opening, the Limad's consolidation, Qatar's AI push? Let me know in the comments. This is GulfWire. See you in the next one. Hope you enjoyed it.